Hi everyone. So in this lecture we'll see ER to relational mapping. So you have studied like in the different phases of database design. We have a conceptual design where we will use the ER diagram to create a conceptual model. And then we have to convert that ER diagram to representation model, that is the relational mapping. Okay, like how we are going to represent the model or the database, that will be done in the representation, or that may be done using representation model. So here we use one of the representation model, that is the relational model. In the relational model, we use the relations to represent the uh, entities or the relationship. Okay, like in the form of tables, we are going to represent the entities and the relationship. So now here we'll see what all the different steps involved while converting ER to relational model. The steps involved in the ER to relational mappings are: step 1, mapping of regular entity types. Then step 2 is mapping of weak entity types. Then comes mapping of binary relationship types, like 1 is to 1, 1 is to n, or m is to n. Then mapping of multi-valued attributes. Finally, mapping of n-ary relationship types. Here, all these steps may not be involved in the ER2 relational mapping. For example, if there is no multi-valued attributes, then the step 6 may not be applied. Or if there is no weak entity type, then again the step 2 may not be applied. Okay, so whichever is applicable, that we have to see. For example, in every ER diagram, you will be having the strong entity types or the regular entity types. That means the first step must be applied. Okay, now we'll see each one of these steps in detail. The first one, regular entity types, mapping regular entity types. For each regular or strong entity type, we have to create a relation. Okay, when we say regular or strong entity type, that means the entity can be identified by an attribute. Okay, that means uniquely we can identify the individual objects or the entities in the entity set using one or two attributes. Okay, those will form the primary keys. And if we have a key attribute in the entities, then it will be called as strong entity type. Now for each such a strong entity type, we have to create a relation. Okay, and this relation will include all simple attributes. Simple means which cannot be divisible further. Okay, it won't be having any components. So in relation, usually we have only the simple attributes. Okay, simple or the atomic values or atomic attributes we can store in the relation. So we cannot have add derived attributes or multi-valued or the composite attributes directly in the relation. So all the attributes must be simple attributes. Then choose one of the key attributes as primary. You may have more than one keys in the entity type. So in those attributes, you have to select one of the key attribute as primary. Now if a composite attribute you have, then what we have to do? The simple attributes together form the primary key. Okay, that means if more than one attribute is required to identify the individual entity in the entity set, then we can use the combination of these attributes as primary key. Now other attributes, if you have more than one key attribute, then the remaining key attributes are kept as secondary unique keys. So you can use the unique constraint when you are creating the table or the relation. So that can be used as a secondary key. Okay, so these secondary keys can be used for indexing purpose. Now we'll see the example. So this is the example of company database. Okay, it is having the employee entity type, department, project, dependent. Okay, so these are the main entity types. Now here employee, department and project, you can see here these three are the regular or the strong entity types. Okay, the first step says you have to create a separate relation for strong entity type. So for employee, department and project will create a separate relation. Now in that we have to include the simple attributes. So if I take employee relation, here SSN as a simple attribute, birth date, salary, sex, address. Okay, so these are the simple attributes. But name is composite. Now what we have to do here is, for name, instead of writing name as attribute in the employee relation, we will take the components of this composite attribute. So in the relation, it will include SSN, birth date, F name, initial, L name, address, salary and sex. Okay, so these attributes we have to add to the employee relation. And if I come to department, department is having two keys. Okay, it is underlined, right? So that means these two are the keys, name and number. But what about the locations? So this is the multi-valued attribute. So I cannot directly add locations to the department relation. Then comes project. So name, number and location. So all these are simple attributes. So you add these attributes to the project relation. Now among multiple keys, you have to select one of the key attribute as primary key. Okay, now we'll see how to represent this in the relational representation. So you can see here the relation name is employee and it is having these many attributes. And I have taken SSN as the primary key. So in the relational schema, or this is the schema representation. Okay. So here you can see SSN is underlined. That means this is the primary key of this relation. And in department, locations we cannot include because it is a multi-valued attribute. So we'll take dname and dnumber. And among dname and dnumber, both are unique. So I'll take one of the attribute as the primary key. Okay. And similarly in project, we'll take project number as the primary key. Here location, project location is single valued. That's why directly we have included project location. But department has multiple locations. That's why it is not included in the relation department. The next step is mapping weak entity types. Now for each weak entity type, we need to create a corresponding relation. And it includes all the simple attributes. Okay, whatever attributes you have which are associated with the weak entity type, those will be included in the relation. And then add a foreign key. Okay, so add a foreign key like all the primary key attributes of entity type corresponding to the owner entity type. Now if the weak entity type, weak entity means it is dependent on some other strong entity type, right? So you have to include the primary key attributes of strong entity types in the relation as a foreign key. And for this new relation, what is the primary key now? Primary key will be the combination of all the primary keys attributes of strong entity type or the owner entity type and partial key of the weak entity type. Okay, so primary key of weak entity, when you are converting to the, when you convert weak entity into relation, then primary key for that relation will be combination of primary key attributes of identifying entity type or the owner entity type and the partial key of the weak entity type. Okay, so that combination will become the primary key of this relation. Now in this example, dependent is the weak entity type. Okay, dependent is the weak entity type. When we can map this to relation, then we'll create a relation for dependent and it will include name, sex, birth date and relationship. And then what is the next step? We have to include a primary key of the owner entity type. So here which is the owner entity type? Employee is the owner entity type. So from employee you check SSN as the primary key. Okay, so SSN is the primary key of employee entity type. That means I have to include SSN in the dependent relation as a foreign key. Okay, and the primary key of the dependent will be name and employee SSN. Okay, these two together will form a primary key of the dependent relation. See here, these three, initially we have created three relations, employee, department and project. And now according to the second step, we created dependent relation. So these are the attributes which are there in the dependent entity type. So simply you add all the simple attributes. Then include the primary key of the owner entity type, that is employee. Okay, so instead of writing SSN, I'm just writing ESSN. That indicates it is a foreign key and it is referring employee relation. Okay, so the arrow mark should point to the primary key of the owner entity or owner entity type. Okay, so employee SSN is pointing to SSN of the employee relation. And here, what is the primary key now? These two together will become the primary key. The combination of these two attributes. So, you need to underline these two attributes. Now, the third step is mapping binary one-to-one relationship. Here there are three approaches when you map the binary one-to-one relationship. Those are foreign key approach, merged relation and relationship relation. So usually for one-to-one we'll use the foreign key approach. Merged means simply we have to merge the attributes of two relations. Okay, so like you have to if you have two different entity types and they are totally participating, then simply you need to take all the attributes in a single relation. So that is merged relation. And third one, you can create a separate relation which will include the primary keys of participating entity types. That is the third step. But when we map one-to-one binary relationship, usually we use foreign key approach. That will be the appropriate method for mapping. Now, how this mapping will be done? First, choose one relation as S, the other as T. Okay, so here when you are selecting, like you have to include the foreign key, right? So in which relation you have to include the foreign key? So better if you choose the entity type or the relation which is having total participation. Okay, if it is having the total participation, so in that relation you include the simple attributes of the relationship type, okay, and the primary key of the other relation, primary key attribute of other relation. Okay, and this primary key of another relation will become the foreign key. We'll see the example now. In this, which is having one-to-one relationship. Here employee manages department. You can see the cardinality is 1:1. Now, which entity type is having total participation? So total participation is represented using double lines. Here department is totally participating in the manager's relationship. That's why I'll just put the simple attribute of this relationship type, that is start date, in the department relation, and the primary key of employee will be added as the foreign key in department. Okay, primary key of employee will be added as foreign key in department relation. You can see here, initially we had in department we had department name and department number, only two attributes. Now after mapping the relationship managers, we will get the manager SSN and the manager start date. What is the primary key of employee? That is SSN. Okay, so to indicate it is a manager's SSN, we name this attribute as MGR underscore SSN. And now this is the foreign key. It is referring employee relation. Okay. Now the fourth step, binary 1 to n relationship. We are mapping binary 1 to n relationship. Here choose the relation S as the type at the n side of the relationship, and other is T. Now S is at the n side of the relationship type, and which is there in one side, that is represented as T here for the convention. Now add as a foreign key to S all of the primary key attributes of T. Again here we are using the foreign key approach. We can also use relationship relation, but the appropriate method is foreign key approach. So what happens here is you have to see which in relation is there at the n side. Okay, in that relation you add the primary key of the relation which is at one side as the foreign key. Okay, so see the example now. So we are converting 1 to n relationship or n to 1 relationship. We show the relationship here. We have works for n:1, then controls 1:n, then this is already then done, weak entity type, and here if I see supervision, again 1:n. Now after mapping, what we will get? Just see which participating entity type is at n side. So employee is participating in this works for relationship and it is at n side. So what we have to do here? We have to take the primary key of the relation, which is, relation means here entity type, which is there at one side, that should be added to the employee relation. Okay. So department number should be added to employee relation. And if I come to this controls, so project is at n side. Now we need to add primary key of department in project as the foreign key. And if I take supervision, so it is a recursive relationship. So the same primary key, SSN is the primary key, right? So SSN must be added as a foreign key in employee. Okay, so I will, to differentiate this SSN as a supervisor's SSN, will write super underscore SSN. See the mapping now. So according to the supervision relationship, we have added SSN here. Okay, and this is made as a foreign key and it is referring the primary key of employee. So this is self-referencing. You can see the foreign key is referring the same relation. Okay, and department number. So employee is working for particular department. So employee is at N side. So add department number as the foreign key, and it is referring department relation. And then in project works on, department number is added as a foreign key. Always remember when you are showing the foreign key reference, okay, when you show the referential integrity constraint, then this in the schema diagram, the arrow must point to the primary key of the owner entity. Okay, not owner, like primary key of the refer relation. Okay, so this is referring and this is the referenced relation. So in the referenced relation, you have the primary key, right? So to that primary key, it has to point, not in the reverse way. Okay, a lot of confusion will be there when you are drawing the schema diagram. From where to where we have to add. So from where it will originate, so like this is the foreign key. It is not a primary key, okay. So from this is the referencing relation, and where it is referencing, so it is referencing department relation. So this is the referenced relation. Okay, so the project is referring department, so arrow should point to the primary key of department. Now the fifth step, binary M to N relationship. You are mapping binary M to N relationship, that is many to many relationship. In this we use the relationship relation approach. Okay, so you need to create a new relation you will create a separate table. Okay, you'll create a separate relation on the table and then add as a foreign keys the primary key of both the relations, and the combination of these primary keys of the participating entity types will become the primary key of the new relation. And if you have any simple attributes in the relationship type, so that must be included in the new relation. Okay. Now here works on. Okay, works on is having many to many cardinality or MS to N relationship. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to create a separate relation for works on. And in works on, you have to include the primary key of these participating entities. So what is the primary key of employee? It is SSN, and in project I have taken number as the primary key. So I'll include SSN, employee SSN, and the project number in works on, and we have simple attributes like hours. So this hours must be added to the works on relation. Okay, so three attributes you need to include in the works on: employee SSN, project number, and hours. So in this, employee SSN is now the foreign key referring employee relation. Project number is referring project relation. Okay, and the primary key will be this combination. Okay, primary key of works on will be the combination of employee SSN and project number. So like this we can map many to many relationship. Now the sixth step, if you have a multi-valued attributes, then how you will map this multi-valued attributes. As I said, in the relation you can have only the simple attributes, right? Now if you have observed in the ER diagram, department has locations multi-valued attribute. Now for this multi-valued attribute, you have to create a new relation. Okay, and then add as foreign keys the primary keys of the corresponding relation. Okay, that means if you have a department number as the primary key, so that should be added in the new relation as foreign key. Then add the attributes to S. Add the attributes to S. Like what all the attributes you have, like simple attributes, or like the combination of all attributes in S. forms the primary key. Like locations you will add, right? So locations and the department number. So for that you have to create a new relation. You can see here the locations is a multi-valued attribute. After the conversion you will get D number and D location. See, for example, here I have a department called research, and its department number is 1. And this research department is located in either Chennai or Bangalore or Kolkata. Now, 3 locations are there. So, in the relation or in the database, I'll store department number as 1, location as Chennai, then again department number 1, Bangalore, and third row again department number 1 and Kolkata. So 3 different tuples will have, because if I take only department number as the primary key, can I get the unique tuples in that? It's not possible, because all 3 are having department number as 1. So what we have to do, we have to take the combination. Department number 1 and department location. Okay, 1 Chennai, 1 Bangalore, 1 Kolkata. So now if I take the combination, I'll get the unique tuples. So that's why the primary key of this new relation will be the combination of D number and D location. So this is the complete schema diagram of company database. Okay, this is the result of mapping from ER to relational schema. Now we have left out with the 7th step. Okay, I said all the steps are not mandatory, like it is not applicable in all the cases. Here there is no NRE relationship in company database, that's why we have not discussed. Now suppose if you have NRE relationship types, then how to map this? For each NRE relationship type, NRE means the number of participating entity must be greater than 2. Now create a new relation S to represent R. Okay, you have to create a new relation to represent this NRE relationship. And in this new relation, you include as the foreign keys attributes all the primary keys of the participating entities must be included as the foreign key. Okay, and if there is any simple attribute or the composite attributes, means you have to include the simple components of those composite attributes as the attribute of new relation. Okay, now see the example here, supply is an array relationship because it is relating 3 different entity types, supplier, project and part. So the cardinality of this relationship is 3. Okay, it is a ternary relationship. Now what we have to do, we have to create a separate relation for supply. And in this supply, we have to include the primary keys of these participating entities. So we'll have S name, project name and part number, and the combination of these 3 will become the primary key of this new relation, and S name as the foreign key referring supplier relation. Here it is not shown, but you have to draw. Then project name, again it is a foreign key referring project relation. Part number is referring part relation. And quantity is one of the attribute which is associated with the relationship supply. So that also you have to include. Okay, so in this way you can map NRE relationship. Now if you have a specialization or generalization concept, then how to map this? There are 4 different methods to map the specialization or generalization. The first one, multiple relations. Okay, like you have to create a separate relation for subclass and superclass. The second method is multiple relations only for subclasses. Here, if it is a disjoint specialization, disjoint type, then you can use multiple relations only for subclasses. Then single relation with one type attribute and single relation with multiple type attributes. Okay, so here usually we'll go for multiple relations, and if it is a disjoint, we can apply multiple relations for only the subclasses. And single relations, if you use the disjoint, then it can have more null values. Okay, we'll see these examples now. The first one here, see here employee, and it is generalized, or we have a different specialized as a secretary, technician and engineer. Now if we go for multiple relation for superclass and subclass, then first you create a relation for employee, which will include the simple attributes of this, like F name, initial, last name, SSN, birth date, address and job type, and SSN is the primary key. Now for subclasses also you have to create a relation. So secretary, technician and engineer. So these are the subclasses, and for that create relation separately. So in secretary we have typing speed. So typing speed, and then the superclass primary key you have to add as a foreign key here. Okay, so SSN. So SSN will refer employee relation. Similarly, SSN in technician will refer employee. So like that you can create the relation for multiple relations for superclass as well as subclasses. Okay, so this is the usual method, like it is applicable whether it is disjoint or overlapping, but you can use this method. The next one, create multiple relations or the tables for the subclasses only. So you will not create a relation for the vehicle. Okay, this vehicle is a superclass, right? So for vehicle, don't create a relation, but for car and truck, you create a separate relation. Now what happens here is, whatever the common attributes you have, okay, that will be added to this relation. See here, you can see in car we have vehicle ID, license plate number and the price. Actually these are common for car and truck, so we'll include those three, and then the max speed and number of passengers. And in truck again, vehicle ID, price, license plate number, number of axles and tonnage. So these attributes will be included in truck. So here we are mapping, or we are creating subclasses relations, not the superclass. Okay, only the relations for subclasses will create. Then the third way is you'll create a single relation. Okay, you'll create a single relation, and in this single relation you'll include all the attributes. For example, all these attributes will include about the employee, and then we'll have job type. So based on job type we will decide whether the employee is a secretary, technician or an engineer. Okay, so for that we will have one attribute, separate attribute, and here we have typing speed, then technician, grade and engineering type. So everything is included in a single relation. And for overlapping relation, overlapping specialization or generalization type, we will have a attribute which will decide whether it is overlapping, whether for example the instance is belonging to manufactured part or purchased part or both. To check that, we'll have one more attribute like a flag, and here we'll set the values. For example, if it is flag is EM, means it is manufactured, it belongs to manufactured, and if it is P means it is purchased, or if I write B, that means both. Okay, to indicate whether it belongs to both the subclasses, we will use a different attribute. Okay, in the previous case, everything we have included in single relation, but what happens in the disjoint specialization, it will have more number of null values. Okay, because here you see the secretary, an employee can be a secretary or technician or engineer, but not multiple designation, correct? They are not secretary and technician or secretary and engineer. They belongs to only one particular job type. In that case, if for example if he is a secretary, then in this only the typing speed will be applied or it is applicable. The remaining two attributes will have null value, right? So in each tuple, if I take employee tuple, so out of these three attribute values, two attribute values will be always null. So it increases the null values in the relation. Okay, so that is why this approach is not appropriate when you are mapping the specialization concept. Now the next is, okay, so after I'll just conclude this now. This is one of the exercise, so you can try how you can map, or first what you have to do, you have to find out what are the strong or the regular entity types. Then you can see there are weak entity types. Okay, so map those weak entity type. Then comes binary relationship, mapping binary relationship. Here one to one is there, you just check. If one to one is not there, you skip that step, go for many to one relationship. Okay, so just try to solve this example or the exercise problem. Okay, so these are the steps involved when you are converting ER diagram to relational schema. Okay, so it is called ER to relational mapping. Thank you.